A new report outlines the major threats posed to nature, economies, food security and human health by invasive species.
That means animals and plants that pop up in places they shouldn't. And in New Zealand, we are dangerously exposed because of our economic reliance on growing and farming and the uniqueness of our native plants and animals. Isobel Ewing reports.
Wasps, cats, thistles, gold clams, rats, water hyacinth, Argentine ants, the fall armyworm and the seaweed callirpa. What do they all have in common? They don't belong here and they're wreaking havoc.
It's a direct threat to our natural environment, but it's way beyond just that. It threatens our economy, it threatens our food security.
A major new global report shows more than 37,000 invasive species have been introduced by human activities to new regions around the world. It's rising at unprecedented rates, and invasive alien species are contributing to 60% of global plant and animal extinctions. Two species, the fall armyworm and callirpa, have grabbed headlines recently. The fall army moth can fly 100 k's in a day, and its larvae can feast on 350 types of plants, while callirpa spreads like a mat across the sea floor, suffocating shellfish beds. Yet experts say the threat of invasive species is underestimated.
To some degree, we have become a bit complacent in New Zealand because our biosecurity protection is working so well.
The cost to the global economy of invasive species was more than $423 billion in 2019. The cost to the primary sector in New Zealand was $9.2 billion in 2020, while the cost of production losses has gone from $1.5 billion to $4.3 billion over 10 years. The pests can get themselves here or be brought by ships, planes or storms. Global warming means more frequent and bigger storms and is making things much worse in other ways too.
If you look at tick-borne diseases in livestock, ticks are in New Zealand are not as common as in other countries, but within 1 or 2 or 3 degrees more average temperature, they would become widespread.
And our unique native flora and fauna are threatened.
It's not just this thing's a pretty thing and it will be sad to lose it. It's the fact that our Earth systems are reliant on the species and the interactions for supporting us and life on Earth.
The report authors say there must be a global effort to detect invasive species before they spread and to contain and control them once they arrive, because what happens in other parts of the world heightens the risk to us here in New Zealand.
It all comes down to funding to continue with good biosecurity and good research around it. With new threats coming, we need new research to respond to these threats.
Because there's too much at stake to let our guard down. Isobel Ewing, News Hub.